and start with this first example and just talk about how to find volume. How would you find the volume of this solid? What would you do? Well, if I added them all up, what would that get me? I'm not going to multiply them all.
You're going to multiply the base times the width times the height, so 3 times 1 times 3.
Right, but this isn't all the way up to 3 here.
Right, well then, I don't know.
Can I break it up into 2 shapes? 2 solids?
Yeah, probably.
So like if I chop a line, oops, come back.
Oh,
don't write that. Don't write it. If I chop that in half, not really in half, but if I put a line, let's say right here, we've got a little cube up top. You want it down? Yeah. Either way would work. What would be the volume of this top cube be? It'd be 1, right? Because what's the length of this?
1.
So it's 1 by 1 by 1, right? So the volume of that is 1 times 1 times 1, which is 1. Now let's go to the bottom solid. What are the 3 dimensions of that solid? 2 by 1 by 3. No, multiply correctly. 3 times 2 times 1 is 6. So the total volume would be what? Right, so it would be 1 plus 6. So 7 units cubed for volume. Okay. So we can find volume by doing that, but what if our prism isn't just a simple rectangular prism? What if it's a triangular prism? What if it's a trapezoidal prism? What if it's a hexagonal prism? So our volume of a prism, what does capital B stand for again? Area of the base. H stands for the height of the prism. Okay, so we're going to add that to our list. So surface area and then volume. So what changes from a prism to a cylinder? The base shape now becomes what? On a cylinder, our base shape is now a circle. So instead of a B, what's going to go in place? Pi r squared. Good. So our volume formula for a cylinder is volume is equal to pi r squared h. Do I need to label the r and the h here? Are we okay? Alright, so looking at our first shape, is it a prism or a cylinder? It is a prism. Okay, so that means we're going with, oops, I didn't write down this one, pi r squared h. We need the capital B and we need the h. So let's organize our thoughts. Capital B and h. Let's do the easy one first. What's the height of that prism? 5. Good. What is the base shape? It is a trapezoid. So I'm going to go down here and recreate this trapezoid. Okay. What's the length of this part of the trapezoid? 6. What's the other base's length? 14. Do we know the height of that trapezoid? Huh?
Yes.
It is 3, right? So now the question is, how do you find the area of a trapezoid? Do you remember that formula? Got some formulas that are going to need to go on these index cards for our final exam. 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. Does that look familiar? So what is the sum of my bases? 6 and 14, which would make 20, right? Times, what's the height of the trapezoid? 3. So my big B is going to be what number? 30. Half of 20 is 10, times 3 is 30. Now can we find the volume? Sure. Capital B, so 30 times your height, 5, which gets us 150 centimeters cubed. Okay? So prisms, you have to think about what that base shape is to find your capital B. On to the back. What shape do we have? A cylinder. So what do we need to find volume of a cylinder? All I need is my radius and my height. Am I given both of those things? So pi times my radius squared, so 9 squared, times 6. Now it's just some fancy calculator work. So pi times 9 squared times 6. I'm getting 1,526.8 feet cubed. Good with that?
I'm happy with it.
Good. All right, the last one I want you to change, I know it says 90 on your example. Can you change it to 125 so it works out a lot nicer? For the last example, turn the 90 into 125. All right, so here we have a cube. They're giving us the volume, and we need to solve for the dimensions of the cube. So, how do you find the volume of that cube in terms of x? What would it be? 3x. Yeah, so it's 125 equals x times x times x, which is x to the third power. Does anybody know what number you can multiply by itself 3 times to get to 125? No. Not that.
Oh, it's 5.
It is 5, isn't it? How can we do that on our calculator? To undo a square, we take the square root. Do we know how to undo a cube root? Yeah, there's one with a 3 on it. If you're on one of these guys right here, if you look at the button that has the caret for the exponents, see a little up arrow? And do you see where it has the symbol that looks like this on that button? So if we type in 3 first to say I want the cube root, and then hit second and then get to that, and then 125, does it come up 5? Yeah. Okay. So our answer is going to be 5 inches. Okay. Questions with volume of prisms and cylinders?
So when you do 5, there's cube, you just leave it 5 inch.
Yeah, because they're just getting the dimensions of it. All right, let's go jump to 12.5. So you would see that little X. So I would hit 3 for the cube root, and then hit second, and then that button, and then 1, 2, 5.
So then hit this, then second?
Second, because to get any of this gray stuff, you have to hit second first.
Oh, okay, I'm going to do 3.
Right, and then since I want the cube root of it, I'm going to put a 3 in there first. Okay, so 12.5. Hello.
See that, Mr. Allen?
That was really good, Brent.
Did you jump it too?
Yes, I did.
Pyramids and cones. All right, so what's going to happen with a pyramid and a cone, do you think?
I'm not sure yet.
Huh? I used to have these solids, and I used to physically do this with water, but I don't have them here at Marshwood, so I can't do that. So the cool thing about pyramids, thank you, is that a pyramid is actually 1/3 the whole volume of a cube. So think about this. If you had a cube, and you found the volume of it, let's say it was 5 by 5 by 5, the volume of it would be 125. if you were to take a pyramid outside, or take it out from the inside of it, it will be equal to 1/3 of that. So our volume of a pyramid formula is equal to 1/3 the area of the base times the height. Do I need to label the B and the H again? Because I feel like I do this every time.
That was kind of sassy.
And it was sassy on purpose. So volume of a pyramid, 1/3 area of the base times the height. So what's going to be the cone's formula? Instead of B, well, it's going to go in place of pi. Area of base now is a circle. Formula for a circle.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, the L thing.
What goes in place of B?
Oh,
The whole thing, which is the area of a circle is pi r squared, right? H. So our volume of a cone, V equals 1/3 pi r squared H. Do I need to label any of that? Y'all know what the R and H stands for?
What is R?
Radius.
Deep.
Volume. Alright, got that
I'm
written?
guessing H is just perimeter.
No. Alright, here we go. So we have a pyramid or a cone. Pyramid. So for a pyramid, we need to organize our thoughts. I need to find the area of the base, and I need to find the height. What's the area of that base?
25.
25. How'd you get that, Seth?
5 squared.
5 times 5, 5 squared, which is 25. Good.
25.
What's the height of that pyramid? It is 6. Good. So now let's find the volume. Plug it in. Volume equals 1/3 times 25 times 6. If I was doing this mentally, would it be easier to take 1/3 of 25 or 1/3 of 6? 1/3 of 6 is what? Times 25. 50. And my units are centimeters cubed. Okay? The only tricky thing that may occur is what if they gave you the slant height instead? Then what we have to do to find the height? The good old Pythagorean theorem, right? All right, pyramid number 2. What's my base shape? What's your base shape now in this pyramid? What is the base shape in the pyramid? It's a triangle. How do we find the area of a triangle, gentlemen? 1/2 base times height. All right, so now let's focus on this triangle. I'm going to redraw it here. 6 and 4. What's the base? What's the height of that triangle? 4 and 6. So we're going to take 1/2 times 4 times 6. What does that get us? 12? Half of 4 is 2. 2 times 6 is 12. What's the height of the pyramid? It is 9. 9 meters high. So now let's plug it in. 1/3. Area of your base, which is 12, times your height. Mentally, let's do this. What's 1/3 of 12? 4 times 9. 36 meters cubed. Do not forget units cubed when doing volume. On your final exam, do not forget your units squared for area and your units cubed for volume. You'll get points taken off. That's silly points to lose. All right, let's do the cone on the back. What do we need for the cone? Radius is 5. Do we know the height? We do. We need to do the Pythagorean theorem to solve for the height. They give us the slant height. So what's that going to look like to solve for x? Good. I heard you, Claire. X squared plus 25 is equal to 64. 64 minus 25, what does that get us? 39? What do we get when we square root that? So 6.2? We're all going to go with that? I'm trusting you on it. 6.2. Plug it into the formula. Volume equals 1/3 pi times your radius squared times your height. Fancy calculator work. Please stop throwing your pencil up in the air. So 1 divided by 3 times pi times 5 squared times 6.2. I'm getting 162.3 meters cubed. Okay. All right, let's do the slanted cone. Do we know the radius? Do we know the height? So let's plug it in. Volume equals 1/3 pi times 2.2 squared times 4.5. Scott's on top of it. 1/3. Ooh, battery is low. 1/3 times pi times 2.2 squared. Scott, what are you getting?
I got 22.
Yep. So what I got too.
That's what I got.
22.8
Yes, sir.
centimeters cubed. All right, let's find the volume of the house-like shape. Find the volume of the bottom. How do we find the volume of the bottom first? 6 cubed, right? Wouldn't it just be 6 times 6 times 6? So 6 times 6 times 6, which is, what, 216? Okay. Now, let's think about this. Prism, pyramid. Is the area of the base the same for both of my shapes? Yes. Is the height the same for both of my shapes? So technically, what could I do to that 216 to get the pyramid on the top? Divide it by 3, because isn't it going to be 1/3 of the cube?
For the most part,
Yeah, I mean, if you don't believe me, if we did our capital B, it'd be 6 times 6, which is 36. My height is 6. So aren't we doing 1/3 of 6 times 6 times 6?
No.
Yes, we are. So what is 1/3 of 216? Is it 72? Am I making that up? 72? So then what am I going to do to get the total volume? Add them together. What does that get us? 288. And my units are meters cubed. Okay. And let's end with one of working backwards. What shape are we given?
Pyramid.
Pyramid. So pyramid, 1/3. Area of the base times height. What's the area of my base? 100. 10 times 10. So 100. What's the height? It's going to be X. So volume is equal to 1/3 Brent. The area of the base times the height. What's going to go in place of V? 200. What's going to go in place of B? 100. What's going to go in place of H? X. Mentally, is it easy to take 1/3 of 100? It's not going to work out nicely. No. What could I do to get rid of that fraction right away? Multiply by the reciprocal, which is 3. So now we get 600 equals 100x. So what does x need to be? 6, right? Divide 600 by 100. So my height is 6 centimeters. Questions with all of our volume formulas. Just did it all in one shot.